Hey, jellyheads, and welcome to another episode of No U-Turns at the Drive-In. We are your hosts, Lucas Wilson and
Kevin Wixwat.
And today, we will be reviewing a very squiggly game. What game is that, Kevin?
Octodad, Deadliest Catch.
What?
Deadliest Catch. It's not Deadliest, it's Dadliest.
Deadliest Catch. I laughed when I heard that. I didn't see the subtitle for some reason, so then when you guys said Deadliest, I was like, what? That's too clever.
It is very clever. So yeah.
This is a very there's another case. You just surprised me with the game.
Yep.
I'm kind of been enjoying when you do that. Other time was Stanley Parable.
Yes, I told you nothing about it.
You told me nothing. I heard of the name of the game and I saw the picture, but I didn't know anything about it. So it was yeah. So I guess I'll just quickly give a summary here off of the Metacritic.com about what's this game. Octodad, Deadliest Catch is a game about destruction, deception, and fatherhood. The player controls Octodad, a dapper octopus masquerading as a human being, as he goes about his life. Octodad's existence is a constant struggle as he must master mundane tasks with his unwieldy, boneless tentacles while simultaneously keeping his cephalopodian nature a secret from his human family.
So, if you couldn't follow that, essentially you're an octopus in the form of a dad. So you're in a suit, and your goal is to do standard everyday tasks, like get coffee and mow the lawn. But it's on purpose kind of similar to Surgeon Simulator, if you played that. It is very unwieldy and hard to control. That's the whole point of it. So even though these tasks may seem simple at first, you end up throwing stuff everywhere and creating mayhem.
Yeah, so this game had a previous life.
It did.
It was, turns out it started out as a college project, something like that, at the University of DePaul, or I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. and it won a whole ton of awards, and I guess like a few years later, some of the people that made it formed
company.
Wild Horses or something it should be here.
Pretty close. Young
Horses Incorporated, and did a Kickstarter that was very successful. Earned more than 5,000 over their goal, and they made Octodad Deadliest Catch, which is pretty much almost a direct successor. It's not really a sequel in the instance where like the start of the game really pretty much is what the old game was.
Yep.
And then they just gave it like a story.
Yep.
So
this one actually has a story. And
a plot.
The game probably is about 2 or 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think we did it in about 3-ish hours.
And there isn't really much other than the main story. I don't think there are any extras or anything like that.
No, I can imagine there'll be more stuff. Something I don't know if onto that game, but if there'll be like other versions or something more like kind of episodic versions of.
Yeah, I think they considered this their like first real release. As a group that's just out of college. So they had 4 years to work on it. From 2010, which is when the prequel came out, to now. I don't know when they graduated college together, but I assume it was, 3 or 4 years.
About the time we graduated.
Yeah. But I imagine the Kickstarter probably didn't kick off until maybe 2 years ago.
Kickstarter didn't really get... Well, 2011.
Was it?
2011 was kind of when Kickstarter started getting
maybe
really popular. That's when like the first big project.
Yeah. So this was probably their first big project.
Yeah. So, Kevin.
Yes.
We'll get started off here with the gameplay.
So yeah, the gameplay is you just have tentacles, and you're trying to do mundane tasks, simple tasks that should be easy. And at any one point, you can control either your arms or your legs, not both at the same time. So you can either slither across the floor in a weird fashion, in maybe not the right direction or at the right speed or distance, or you can switch to your arms and start throwing things.
Grabbing things. So it's we played it on the PC.
Yep.
This version, all on the mouse. I don't think there's really any other keyboard commands or anything that you have to deal with.
No, it's completely
All mouse. So like left would be like the left leg, and right is the right leg.
Yes.
And the middle scroll button is to switch between your arms and your legs.
Yes.
And it's not easy to walk this way because you have to like hold down one, let go of the other, move your mouse, move it around and click, and make sure you're holding onto a sticky surface that you can grab onto. And sometimes just like you're either taking long leaping strides or you're going like just squiggling across the ground like what I would do whenever I was just like, I gotta get over this spot really quick.
Yep. I'd tell Lucas to tap dance. And he would tap dance his way over there.
So like quickly just hitting the both buttons. It works for like a little bit, but then all of a sudden you just kind of starts staying still, just squiggling around. And then his body's pretty much just all ragdoll.
Yep.
Flopping around everywhere, so his arms are just kind of free motion when you're running around. And then, like, when you switch the arms, you're just basically like an elastic rubber band.
So it looks ridiculous.
Stuck to one spot, and you're like going, and it's just like trying to figure out, it's like, am I close enough to grab that and get it?
So most of the gameplay is, for the most part, I guess you could kind of say they're fetch quests, most of them.
Yes.
Go here, get this, maybe do this thing where, like mow the lawn, you grab a lawnmower, or you grab the mower, then you go over and you try to get the tall pieces of grass while trying not to mow over flowers.
When I got that task, I was like, are you kidding me? There's no way I'm going to be able to mow this lawn.
So, I mean, most of it's pretty simple, straightforward.
It's really simple.
Gameplay, it seems simple, but because the control scheme is so ridiculous and wild, it just becomes hilarious to watch.
Yeah. One of the hardest things I found out trying to control Octodad is climbing stairs, or at least ladders. Ladders are
impossible.
Are nigh impossible because your foot will get stuck into things.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of times where like I'm walking and then I wrap myself around an object and then and I'm dragging myself under.
Or you have one leg on one side of a pole and the other leg on the other side, and so you're trying to move one foot forwards, but it doesn't want to let go of the other one. So that'll happen. So you get wrapped up in stuff all the time.
There's plenty of times where I got like I'm walking all of a sudden I'm just like, where did I go? And I'm stuck underneath this table, like just squished under it, and I'm trying to get out.
I guess for the most part, it progresses pretty solidly from easy, simple tasks where you get as long as you need to a little bit more complicated tasks. Because like at first, part of the gameplay mechanics are you get detected if you do unusual things. So if you're in front of someone and you end up knocking something off a shelf, a meter starts to fill up that you're being detected as an octopus because no one can tell immediately.
Yeah,
for some
apparently
odd
just
reason.
putting on a suit makes you look human, and your floppy head and tentacle arms.
So that's part of the gameplay mechanic, and I'd say for the first 3/4 of the game, that meter really doesn't matter for the most part. I don't think we ever failed one until you get later in the game, and eventually you have to, I guess you could say, sneak, and you can't be seen at all, otherwise you get detected, and that's part of ramping up the difficulty, and that's probably my favorite parts of the game. Like at that time when you're trying to like sneak around.
Yeah, like that ship level.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that part of the game. The very beginning, it's just teaching you how to play, and it's just silly and ridiculous.
It's very silly.
And it doesn't take any skill, really. I mean, you can take your time.
It's very experimental.
Yeah.
It's fun to just have people who's never played it before do it.
Yeah.
Just like, what? Like all of a sudden it's telling you, all right, now reach out and grab the pillow, and all of a sudden you go out.
You pick up one thing on a table, and you end up just like wiping everything off of it.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, that's the gameplay for the most part. It ramps up pretty steadily. I'd say it's a little sharp at the end.
Yeah.
The final boss, which, I mean, is appropriate. I guess it's a final boss, so it should be difficult. And that probably took the longest. Maybe a little bit too difficult than it should be.
I didn't play it. Patrick played it.
Yeah. But it took a while to beat simply because of the inexact nature of the controls.
Yeah.
Which is part of the charm of it, but at the same time, they made it a little bit too difficult, in my opinion, to try to do what you're doing. Because the final boss probably took us, I don't know, well over an hour. When it's pretty simple when you think about it.
It had to do with running from the chef who's trying to prove to your family that you're an octopus.
Yeah.
And you're running and the building's on fire and you're trying to run on these tables without falling off into the fire.
Yep.
And he's chasing you.
And then you have to like turn corners and keep doing it over.
Yeah, turn corners. You're allowed to have one foot in the fire without getting hurt, which is okay.
Yeah.
But
So they tried to make it easy, but at the same time, I still think it was a little bit more difficult than it needed to be because not only do you have to be exact with your controls, but it's quick.
not like there's
you have to be running.
Yeah,
you can't go slow.
Yeah, it's not like there's any kind of reticle or something like some sort of cursor that tells you where you're going to step. You have to guess.
Yeah.
And since it's not like perfect depth perception you got here,
Yeah, because you basically are sliding your mouse and then clicking your foot. So you got to hope that the way the camera's oriented to the way you're moving the mouse is in sync, and if it's off by like 20 degrees, you fall off the table. So it's hard to get it just right.
Now I want to play first-person Octodad with the Oculus Rift.
Doesn't even speak English.
No,
So, I mean, for the most part, that's the gameplay aspect of it. Ramps up nicely to the end. It starts off easy. You slowly learn the tricks of the trade, get a little bit better at it, and they introduce, the final boss, which I think was it was a good climax to it.
Pretty much the same boss throughout the whole game, essentially. It's just different
gameplay with the boss.
Yeah.
So it worked out well. I enjoyed the gameplay aspect of the game.
Yeah, there is an addition to it. You can play the game in co-op mode.
Yep, which we gave a shot.
Which we gave a shot. You and Pat did. On PC, if you just use like an Xbox controller and the mouse, you can only have like access to one arm. But I found out if you use two 360 controllers, you can have somebody control two limbs and the other person control two limbs.
Oh, okay. Because when we had the mouse and the controller, we could only do one arm and two legs.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know how much two arms would really help, really, because the game's designed for one arm, where you reach out and you pick up one thing.
I've watched some videos of like people who like split up. It's like, I think that's the easiest way to split it up is if somebody's in charge of legs and somebody's in charge of arms. But then the more interesting one is like if you split the body in the other way and you have somebody in charge of an arm and a leg and the other person in charge of an arm and a leg, and you're trying to coordinate with each other with steps, and then like both people are trying to grab the same thing, and sometimes like no, let me just and then you're going opposite directions, and it's
so we just gave it a shot with we each had a separate leg and one of us controlled the arm, which was interesting, but not enough for me to be like, I got to beat the game like this again,
Yeah.
So for the most part, you're really only going to get 2 to 3 hours of gameplay out of it, depending on how quick you.
Yeah, I think with how at least basic with the gameplay, I think the length was probably about appropriate.
Yeah, I couldn't see getting more out of it because I hate to call it a gimmick, but it only goes for so long. Like the discovery of how ridiculous it is only lasts for so long, and then once you beat it once, like I'd never want to go back and rebeat it. It's just it is what it is. It's kind of more of that novelty, hey, this is different type of feel. Like, if you want to play something different, this is what you want to get. But it doesn't have, like, the depth of other games that I would consider, I guess indie games. Like, Surgeon Simulator, I think, has a lot more depth than a game like this, where they mix it up over time, and there's different elements they keep adding in a little bit here and there. And I don't know if they could really do it with this type of game, but I think it was the appropriate length for what they had.
Yeah, 3 hours was about.
Yep.
It's pretty good. I like, it was over. It was like, that was a satisfying amount of time that I played this. I feel like I felt it fulfilled a want for entertainment at that time.
Yep.
And when I was done, I was like, oh, good. I feel like I didn't waste like a whole day trying to do one thing.
Yeah. I'd say for the price, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you could find it on sale for like somewhere between $5 or $10.
It's $15 right now, and I think because of that, how simple replayability isn't it? Maybe if they had
a battle royale mode where you stab each
other. What? This is arena?
Yes.
With all these Octodads and just weapons spread out, just laying on the ground, and then you have to like try and...
Can you imagine an octopus trying to control 2 arms to pump a shotgun? I mean, really.
Yes, that would be amazing! And he just cocks it and bullets just keep popping out. Like, no, I'm not. No.
Yeah, you have to load the chamber.
No, yes. The Octodad duel.
Each arm you have to control the height of each arm to aim the gun. You're accidentally pulling the trigger in random directions.
And whenever you fire the gun, your arms just go...
You're trying not to shoot yourself at the same time.
want to see this now.
You blow off like a tentacle. Don't worry, I have 7 more. I'm fine. Whenever you blow off a tentacle, it's still on the ground, reaching and grabbing for stuff. Can't walk over them; they're like mines. You're dragging it along the ground. Okay, I think we have a new game.
Oh, okay.
We have to contact the developers. We have
Young Horses. I want to see an expansion to Octodad where you have to try and handle weapons with independent limbs. I think you have a gold mine here.
I think, yeah.
That would open up a lot of replayability. I think that would.
I think it would.
I think I would play that for a few times.
I think the thing about this game is very family friendly. If you
Yes.
have kids, this is what you should be
Oh
getting.
yeah, there's nothing.
All battle arena discussion aside, I mean it's a good game. I would say to give a young kid to say, hey, give this a shot.
Yeah.
Because it has that kind of humor, and kids are just going to be laughing hysterically as it plays the game. As evidenced by Lucas laughing hysterically throughout the game.
Especially at the beginning.
He's just young at heart.
Yeah, I'm. So I think for what it was, I think I'd give the gameplay a thumbs up.
Yeah. I mean, it's
pretty innovative.
Yeah, that's the reason I give it a thumbs up. It's innovative. So, and I think I've done enough episodes where everyone knows what kind of games they gravitate towards. Something new. I mean, something more might come of this. I don't know what else they could really explore with it. I don't know if they'll keep on this because I mean they've been doing Octodad for 4 years now, probably 5 if you consider they probably started their game in 2009. So I don't know if they want to continue on that or if they want to try something new.
All right, so this is
story,
Octodad. Sorry,
I think we went over most
kind
of it.
Yeah, it's very simple. I guess I'll just kind of like throw in basically what the plots are. At first, it just seems like it's just like a weird premise. Because you start off in a wedding, you're late for the wedding because you're taking forever to get dressed because you're a friggin' octopus.
Yep.
And you just kind of assume that everybody knows you're an octopus. Or at least I did. I felt like everybody knew you were an octopus. And you were getting married to this lady, and it's like, okay, so it's just a weird world. But then later, you keep going, and then once the wedding's done, you go to the next part of your life where you have 2 kids, which is...
How did that happen? I don't know.
Which
there must be a mailman.
You find out in the home that they don't know you're an octopus.
Yeah, your kids and your wife don't know you're an octopus.
Well, I think the daughter does.
Yeah. But really, no one mentions it.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like this wife is like growing apart from him because he keeps
acting weird,
and doing weird things.
It's a big secret.
Like that one time, your arm got cut off and you didn't go to the hospital; it just grew back. And it's just like, and then the fact that he she's like, you never talk to me. Like, how come you never communicate with me? It's like, because you're not noticing. He's going. He makes gurgly noises,
but everyone understands him. I mean,
yeah, it's like weird. It's like it's like Chewbacca, you know?
Yeah. Lots of gurgles and bubbles and spurts.
And the mission essentially, first it's just doing those chores, getting a hang of controlling your Octodad, and then your wife happens to work for the newspaper or something.
Yeah.
And she's doing an article on the aquarium. And they go to the aquarium. He doesn't really want to go there because
he will be found out by the scientists.
And of course, you go into these little exhibits, hang out with your kids and your family, and try to work some stuff out. But then the chef gets
the whole time,
revenge on you.
Throughout the game, there's a chef who shows up.
Yeah, at the end of every stage, or something. I guess you would say this like French chef. I guess it's like a really bad French accent that they're doing.
Yeah.
And
Swedish? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
octopus.
Is
he supposed to be Japanese? Maybe?
No, I feel it's European.
I mean, he's a sushi chef. He mentions it. I mean, I think that's the accent they're going for, but it's difficult to
sounds more
place it.
Like an American guy trying to do French.
It's a terrible accent, but that's part of the charm. So.
Yeah, he eventually throws Octodad tricks him and throws him into a tank where he's to be eaten by a shark. And you get away from the shark, and then he has a flashback to when he first met his wife, which was him just sneaking onto a boat, stealing the captain's outfit, and assuming the role of being the captain, and steering the ship around. And then his wife, who was like on the boat, secretly trying to find evidence, something about the war or something. Like keep talking about this war that the Frenchman's like always angry about, and the French guy smells you and he starts like, "There's an octopus on my boat," and you try to avoid him and you knock him off. It's like, "This isn't the end, octopus," and you drive away and you marry this. She's pretty. You're wearing this outfit, so you're human.
Yeah,
essentially,
you're human.
And then it's you trying to get back to your family and whatnot. So you're now a naked octopus, and
yes,
now they can see you for who you really are. And your family's now like, "How are we gonna? Now this is weird. We're gonna have to work through this." And I guess you make amends with the sushi chef after your fight.
Yep.
And your son's going like, "Wait a minute. If you're an octopus, where did we come from?" And then everybody laughs and stuff like you see in like the end. And he's like, "No, seriously, where did we come from?"
Yeah.
So I mean, that very basic, very super short story.
Mm-hmm.
Very family friendly, very cutesy, I guess.
Yeah.
Just kind of there to give you something to do with the controls. It's not really anything complicated.
Yep.
Or deep.
No.
Other than the implications
very
of
simple and straightforward.
Human on octopus
love making.
Yeah. How did she not find out that he was an octopus then?
I don't know. Maybe they just
having
sleep
all
in separate
those
beds.
squiggly arms make you a good lover?
You never went upstairs to look at the bed. You never know.
You started in the bedroom.
Did you?
Yeah.
So
you woke up and you had to get the alarm clock across the room.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Story, so I mean, not the amazing, well, kind of hand wiggly. It's not like the most amazing thing in the world.
Yeah, story. I mean,
it's just there to
take
serve the
it.
gameplay. I think that's just pretty much what it's there
Hey,
for.
it's pretty. I don't know. I'd say it's kind of uninspired. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, time to go to the grocery store.
Time to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the story could have been there, couldn't have been there. It doesn't. To me, it's not. You don't play this for the story.
No. You're playing it for the gameplay, solely for the gameplay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just kind of the way it is.
Okay. So that's that's the story. So finally, we'll get into the presentation of this game.
Yeah, it's pretty well polished for the most part.
It's very polished. It's like if you like really look at its like face value, it's very basic animation and graphics. But I guess the lighting and smooth quality, like the high quality of the textures and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
make it look pretty good. I feel
all the menus are very streamlined and slick, which is nice to see from an indie developer who tend to overburden their game with options.
Yes.
So here it's they streamlined everything. Everything looks great. It's the way it should be. It's a simple game. It should, in general, have a very simple presentation. So there isn't much on your screen when you're playing. There's I think 1 meter, which is just your detection meter that I don't even know if it shows up all the time. I can't remember. It might only
it's there all the time.
Yeah.
It's kinda like there.
But I'm pretty sure that's all you see. Occasionally you might see a waypoint. Hey, go over here. If you aren't sure of what you're supposed to be doing, it'll pop up, but otherwise it's not there.
Yeah, the physics engine, pretty good, because that's pretty much that's what the game is for. Like it plays off of the squiggliness of your character.
And the physics of you hitting things and
and
bumping
just
things.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you'll get some weird freak out, like if you're grabbing like some moving object and you're still stuck to the ground and it pulls you, you start vibrating violently and flopping all over the place.
So the presentation was nice. The only I guess this goes back towards bugs in it. We had a few times where we got stuck. An event wouldn't trigger at one point, or we had to go back and reload. We had one where we fell out of the map once. So I mean, the bugs are in there, but if you have to go back to your last save, it's not game breaking. I mean, you pretty much start from where you left off, and if you've already done it once, it's pretty easy to do again for the most part.
Yeah, I bet I could breeze through it a lot faster than before. Like first trying to get used to the controls and trying to figure out exactly what this game is about. You're just kind of like fumbling around and not doing
And once you learn the controls, it becomes less fun in my opinion. I mean, the fun of it is you not knowing how to do something, and so I find that the later on it went, the less I enjoyed it.
Yeah, which is what I think.
Which is why it was good. It was short, but at the same time,
Yeah, which is probably what the additions in Surgeon Simulator try to overcome.
Yeah.
So you get used to it, so then you're used to it doing in the stationary. It's like, well, I'm going to throw you in a moving ambulance now.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're getting used to that? I'm going to put you in space.
Yeah.
You're getting used to that? I'm going to give you an alien. You have no idea what their body parts are for.
Where this game, it doesn't do that. It's the same stuff for the most part the whole game, where they don't really throw any curveballs at you.
Yeah, I wonder if they had tried to make the more challenging...
Yeah. I mean, that was the biggest bummer of it, because it's like you can play it once, but that's it. It's the end.
Yeah. Kind of wish there was...
You really learn it, and then it's once you learn it, it's over. You know, they could lose its charm quickly, which is my biggest flaw with this game.
In terms of the animations were never really the facial animations were pretty
bad. Yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah.
They're just like open, closed mouth.
Yep.
And little to no facial expression. Octodad had some all right. He had some.
Yeah, he has the best ones. And
he's this very squishy, like.
Yeah. And his face is actually pretty expressive for being an octopus.
Being an octopus.
Compared to other people, which they were very unexpressive.
Yeah, they just looked at you and were like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I mean, the voice acting was fine in it.
Oh yeah, voice acting was just fine. Yeah.
I had no issue with it. I think whoever played the octopus really excelled at being an octopus. Yeah. So I mean, it was good. That part of it. I guess for the most part, that's it. Graphically, pretty basic. Voice acting, basic. Acceptable. I guess.
There's some nice puns in the writing.
Yep.
Especially in the supermarket. Oh, wait, when you're in the ticket line. Have a fantastic day.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of pun humor. I guess you could call it dad humor, where like
I like puns.
Where like your dad will say something and you're just like, well, that was a terrible joke.
Puns are kind of a smart joke because it's like they work on multiple levels.
Yeah, they're very punny.
Yeah, I like puns.
So I mean, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like the presentation didn't wow me. It was like you could tell it's an indie game.
It felt kind of like it was I don't know, just the way it looked, it just felt kind of like a cartoony version of the Source Engine or something like that. But,
yeah, it was very cartoony. Yeah, but that's kind of the style of all indie developers because it's easy to do cartoony. It's more difficult to do
it's hard to. Yeah, it's hard. You can be easily forgiven for even glitches in the game. It's like it's not that bad if you're trying to.
Yeah, if your cartoon
you're not going to
stretches twice as long as it should, it's like whatever. It's a cartoon. But if it's like supposed to look more realistic,
comedies, which is like you see comedy a lot in indie games.
Yep, because I think it's easy. It's more forgivable for something, and if you can get someone to laugh, they're usually going to tell somebody about a game that made them laugh. Whereas if you made like a serious game, you could be like, well, I don't know if I should recommend this to someone because it's not funny or.
It's got to be like a really innovative story, like BioShock or something.
Well, that's for an indie game, I'd say.
But indie,
something like Papers, Please.
Oh yeah, it's a serious game.
It's a serious game, but everyone found it really interesting because it kind of proved the point. So, and it was very unique, but there's nothing funny about that game at all. So.
Maybe some of the characters you come across.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's not.
It's pretty brutal.
It's not comedy. I would never say that to someone. Say, yeah, this game's really funny. Take a look.
Yeah. If you like Octodad, I think you'd really love.
Yeah, just wait. Do you want to make fun of Russia?
Presentation game. Thumbish up. It's not.
I'll give it a sideways thumb. I mean, it's nothing special. I'd never recommend the presentation to someone. Be like, man, this game looks awesome, or man, the voice acting in this is awesome.
That was definitely fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but again, it's nothing new. That physics engine, it's ragdoll and pretty simple physics interactions. It's nothing like spectacular. So I wouldn't even mention it if it wasn't a section on here. I mean, that's just how I view this one.
Yeah.
So I would probably give this game more along the lines of a 3, I'd say.
3?
Just because lack of repeatability, you can really only play it once. It's relatively short. And it's short. We said it was kind of a good thing it was short, which I don't think is really a good thing because if they're able to innovate on the gameplay midway through, I think they, just change something about it. Change physics, change something. It would have been better. So in the story, uninspired, the physics engine, whatever, it's different and I enjoyed it. But currently for the, price it's at and for how it plays, I would give it a 3 out of 5. It's okay. I wouldn't recommend it to most people. I'd recommend it to you because I know your gameplay style. But to most people, I wouldn't really recommend this game. But yeah, you want to give it high. I know you do. You're laughing, giggling, screaming at the TV.
Laughing is humor is very important to me.
Yeah.
Being first, but it did my laughter of it did die down as the game went on because then the novelty of it wearing off.
It weared off, and it even got to the point where I don't know if you even realized it. You handed it over to Pat because you weren't, in my opinion, you were enjoying it less. You you wanted to see someone else experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
So even after an hour and a half or 2 hours of gameplay, you were done. You know what I mean? Like you could have kept playing, but you didn't really want to. You'd rather watch someone else.
I would like to. Sometimes I have been times where kind of want to try Octodad again, just to, even if it was just to fiddle around in the world.
Yep.
Like, I'd like to just mess around in that house and just whip things around and stuff. But, yeah, sometimes I kind of wish there was like a sandbox mode of Octodad or something I can just mess around in if I just feel like it. So, I don't know, this game just kind of tickled my funny bone. And I really do, like, it hit me in a spot where, like, it's stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
There's games where, like, there can be some cool stuff about it, but I just end up kind of forgetting about it or something like that. Oh, yeah, I played that game. But Octodad, it's kind of the, the idea of an octopus trying to pass himself as a human and it's working. It's just, I think I might give this, I think I would try at least 4 of my coins on this game before I gave up.
Yeah, in case no one knows me personally, I tend to rate games on how I would think most other people would enjoy them. Most people rate games on how they personally feel about them.
That's how
I've played enough games where I believe I know for the most part what most people enjoy and what they like. That doesn't mean every mainstream game I'm going to give a 5, but at the same time, to most people, I don't think they'd enjoy this game for more than half an hour or an hour, personally. And it's just not worth it for what it is.
I think you have a valid point there, Kevin.
Yep.
Personally, I'll give it 4. And I would recommend. I have some friends that I would definitely throw it off to.
Well, you tend to have very silly friends.
Yes, I do.
But I have a whole bunch of friends that are more mainstream.
Yeah, because you went to engineering school.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a more artistic play on a game. So, but if I wanted to give this to people who normally play, like even people who just enjoy standard Valve games or even indie games in general, for the most part, it doesn't last. It's not going to be great enough for me to bring it up in conversation. Be like, yeah, you got to give this a shot. It's just not going to happen. If someone says, I'm thinking of getting this game, I'll explain to them what it is, and I'll be like, it's good, but I'm not going to be like, yeah, you should get that. This is one of those where it's like, I enjoyed it, I just wouldn't recommend it.
I think I'll buy, if it shows up on a Steam sale, like $5 or $10, or maybe in a humble bundle, I might snag it up.
Someone says, I'm thinking of getting this for $5. I'd say, yeah, that's probably worth it.
Yeah, maybe 10, maybe $7. $7.
Gonna split it? $7?
Yeah. But then again, I would like, but 15. Then again, it's like it gives more money to these people to make a new game. So it
does.
So I want to see what they do next.
Yeah. But I say that to everyone. I want to see new things. That's what I want to see.
Lots of new things. Yeah. Surprise me. Come on.
Everyone, keep making games. You out there listening to this, make a game, damn it. I want to play it. Just make sure it's something new.
So that was our impressions of Octodad.
Yep.
Why don't we see what the other critics have to say? So Kevin, all right, you said you like reading the
worst and the best.
Worst and best. So do you want to read the worst while I read the best?
I'll be the bad guy this week.
Okay, yeah. I think last time, you were the good guy.
Well, it's PC Gamer.
Oh wow, this is pretty. All right.
Okay, this is short. and sweet. Starts out funny, but quickly becomes frustrating. A wonderfully weird and original concept that falls flat like its jelly-limbed hero. Which, I mean, I kind of disagree with. I mean, it starts out funny, it doesn't become frustrating, it just becomes, kind of boring.
If you can't control it. Oh.
Yeah.
There were some frustrating parts. Jeez.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it becomes frustrating.
45.
It becomes easier.
Yeah.
It doesn't become harder for the most part, except for the final boss, which is difficult.
All right. This comes from GamesBeat. Octodad is a great example of a game that conveys a message through gameplay. In conjunction with its story, characters, and settings, the controls offer an empathetic look into the life of extreme outsider trying to fit in and trying to do the right by his family. I love that. Gaming is growing up, and Octodad is some of the best evidence of that. 91 out of 100. The game has a 70 overall on Metacritic.
And a 38 critics.
38 critics. Decent.
Why aren't we on there?
Maybe one day.
One
day. I mean, they're not just pure articles. They're just articles on here. I've seen X-Play reviews on there, like the Off the Road Trucker game that their review is on here.
Oh, I can see it. I mean, it's X-Play, so it makes sense.
And then
too bad they're gone.
It's about the same kind of level of criticism for users too.
Yeah, and a 7.8. They
Yeah,
gave it a
70
little
for Metascore and a 7.8. Yeah, that's pretty much the same.
But I think the people who play this game are the ones who've probably been following it for a while.
Yeah.
There's not going to be many people who are like, they watch the gameplay and they're like, this is interesting. It's going to be very divisive. Either people are not going to buy it and they won't rate it, or they're going to buy it and they're going to like it. So
yeah, I like to. I'll be keeping an eye on this company. I'll see where they come out. I hope they come out. I hope they keep coming out with kind of innovative ideas for games.
Yeah,
not just replaying on the same one over and over.
So I could imagine them going to something new. I mean, 5 years is a long time to spend on one franchise for people who have only probably been making games for about 5 years.
Yeah.
So I imagine.
I don't even know how Bungie managed to just make Halo for more than a decade.
Yeah. Well, they did other things. I mean, they made games before Halo.
They did, but then for a huge chunk, you join the company, say it
that's why a bunch
20
of
something, then by the time you turn 40, you're still working on the same franchise.
Well, that's why the core group of Bungie kept leaving. I mean, it wasn't the same Bungie as it was when it started. So I imagine that's the story of most game developers.
Yeah.
And the smaller ones tend to stick together better, I'd say, than the larger groups where they make a game and drop it.
Yeah, isn't
kind of Irrational left?
Yeah, Irrational. Well, they didn't.
Well, they didn't
around, but they shrunk their size of their company to indie size.
Which I believe it was. It's pretty typical in the industry to do that. For the most part, probably. I believe the majority of teams are contractors anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have your top 15 people leaving to make another company, well, if you had 100 people making a game and 70 or 80 were contractors and 15 leave, I mean, what do you have left? Maybe 24 people that need to be replaced or replanted to new companies. So, I mean, I'm sure that it's an it's part of the industry, and it kind of sucks because, I mean, you can make all these great games and still end up leaving, but I think that's kind of the way the industry just deals with it.
Yeah, but they certainly don't want to get stuck just making BioShock games for Activision forever. So.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted BioShock to continue to do a franchise. I mean, Activision will keep making them. Well, it's 2K.
2K, yeah. 2K. So 2K is the developer.
Yeah, they own
Activision's
Irrational.
Is the publisher, yeah. Yeah,
so, I mean, 2K really has control over it. Activision just publishes it for the most part. They just put up the money for it.
Yeah.
So, for the most part, I think it's, I think BioShock, honestly, will probably be done. I mean, I consider it finished. I don't think they'll continue making iterations unless they really come up with some grand idea. Because I think it really is Kevin Levine's baby for the most part, where he comes up with these grandiose characters and personalities and ideas, and BioShock isn't so much about the gameplay, it's more about the story and the ideas, and it's kind of hard to bring in people from the outside unless they really have something special, I think. So, I mean, you can't make that game an iterative game where you release one every 2-3 years. It's just not going to work. So I think it's a good idea to either end it or wait until something really special comes along.
To see where they go within their smaller team.
Yeah, I'm curious what Kevin Levine's going to do next. But again, I talked about him before, where he
trying to get that story.
Yeah, he's going to. He called it narrative Lego, where he wants story to have distinct endings depending on what you do, which sounds similar to old things, but it sounds like he wants to make it more extreme, similar to Stanley Parable, where you have your, everything you do is very influential on the story, and everybody has a completely different experience, and you can't say, hey, did you get this ending? He doesn't want that. He wants, well, I did this game, and this is the story I had, which is different than what most people have done. So I'm curious what he's going to do with it.
Yeah.
He's definitely a strong personality. I read a pretty long article not that long ago about him, where it just talked about how he can create friction. Because he has these grand ideas, and he basically says, well, if I'm going to make a great game, I'm going to hurt people's feelings, where he had a really good friend on a project with him, and then he'd worked with him for years, and they were talking about art direction of specifically the slum level of BioShock Infinity, and he said, I don't like the art direction this is going in, and I want you to redo it. And the guy said, no, this is how we're doing it. And he said, okay, too bad. Doesn't matter what you want. And so the guy ended up leaving the company, even though he's the art director for all the previous ones. I mean, he's just he's really driven towards making the vision he wants. So as part of the industry, I find it really interesting. I'm going to follow games from him, definitely. He seems more of like a Steve Jobs type of person, someone he has a vision in mind, and nothing will stop until he has that vision completed, and he won't let anything in his way. I mean, he's just that driven.
Steve Jobs of the gaming world.
Yeah. So that was a nice segue.
Well, next week it'll be Matt and I think he says he wants to play the game Floor is Jello or something like that.
Okay.
So we'll see where that goes.
But I like lava. Floor is lava.
Floor is lava.
It's more fun.
Well, Jellyheads, thanks for listening to this episode of Last Coin at the Arcade with your hosts, Lucas Wilson and
Kevin Wixwat.
If you enjoyed this episode, may I suggest you hopping over to our website at psychojellyfish.com to find this and other podcasts. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes and the podcast app Stitcher. Please rate and review. It really does help out the show. And if you're a fan, you want to help spread the madness, give us a like at facebook.com/psychojellyfish or follow us on Twitter at Jellycast. And finally, any last words, comments, questions, or perhaps a strange game you think we should give a shot, send it our way at email@psychojellyfish.com or leave it in the comment section. It's been a tentacled, jiggly day.
Yes.
Folks.
That was a terrible ending. You gotta work on that, man. I thought you were a part of radio. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Keep it psycho.
Sleep tight.
Did you know my cat was once a famous concert pianist?
Oh, that's cool.
But she,
My cat plays the bass.
her addiction to tap water, bananas, and slow and fast shakes kind of did her career in.
That'll do it. I can't believe how often that happens.
It's pretty bad.